I did not lose her in one day. I lost her slowly, quietly, almost without noticing. There were no big fights, no dramatic goodbyes, no doors slammed, no tears in public, no final scene that could explain everything. Instead, there were only small moments, silent moments, little choices that seemed unimportant at the time, but that gradually changed everything. Her name was Emma, and she had been part of my life for many years. From the beginning, she was different from anyone I had ever known. She never tried to impress anyone. She did not ask for attention or gifts. She only needed one simple thing: presence, and she gave me hers every single day. When I felt tired or uncertain, she listened. When I failed, she stayed. When I doubted myself, she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And without realizing it, I made my biggest mistake. I started to think she would always be there. I assumed she would wait forever. I told myself that love alone was enough. But love without care slowly becomes fragile. Emma loved me quietly, in ways I could easily ignore if I was distracted. She remembered the small things I forgot, my favorite coffee, the songs that relaxed me, the way I liked my desk arranged. She noticed when I was tired without me saying a word, and more than anything, she waited. She waited when I arrived late, when I canceled plans, when I forgot dates. Even then, she smiled. Even then, she stayed. Meanwhile, I was distracted. I focused on work, on plans, on my own ambitions. I filled my days with excitement from new people, conversations, and opportunities. Slowly, without realizing it, I started leaving her outside my life. Whenever she asked for attention, I said, "Later. Later we will travel. Later we will spend more time together. Later I will listen better. Later I will choose you." But later never came. And she never complained. She never shouted. She never begged me to stay. Instead, she became quieter, more patient, almost invisible to my mistakes. At first, I did not notice. I told myself everything was normal. I told myself I still loved her. But slowly, love without presence began to feel empty. Although she was there when I had nothing, when I gained more, I looked elsewhere. I sought excitement, attention, and the thrill of novelty. I became blind to her patience, blind to her heart. She waited for my delayed messages. She planned days I canceled. She listened to my stories, even when I was no longer fully present. And still, she stayed. Until one night, everything changed. We were sitting together quietly after dinner. The room was calm, but the air felt heavy. She looked at me in a way I had never seen before. Not angry, not sad, just tired. Then she asked a simple question. "Do you still see a future with me?" I laughed softly, not understanding how serious that moment was. "Of course," I said. "Why do you ask?" She nodded slowly. Her smile did not reach her eyes. That was the moment I should have stopped everything. That was the moment I should have put my phone down. That was the moment I should have taken her hands and told her the truth. That was the moment I should have chosen her. But I didn't. Days passed, then weeks, then months. During that time, she began changing. She started doing things alone. She smiled less. She talked more about her life than ours. And still, I thought everything was fine. I told myself she was strong.
I told myself silence meant peace. I was wrong, very wrong, because one day, without warning, she stopped waiting. There was no fight, no argument, no accusation. She looked at me calmly and said, quietly but firmly, "I was always here. You just never chose me." Those words hurt more than anger ever could. At first, I did not know what to say. Then I tried to explain. I told her I was confused. I told her I needed time. I told her I loved her. She listened, as she always had, but her eyes were sad and peaceful at the same time. "I know," she said softly, "but love without action hurts." And then she stood up and left, not with anger, not with hate, not with drama, only with a quiet sadness that stayed in my chest long after she was gone. At first, I felt free. I told myself it was for the best. I told myself I could finally focus on my dreams. I told myself I had more time and space. I kept living. I kept working. I kept meeting new people. I filled my life with noise and distractions. But slowly, reality arrived. No messages in the morning, no one asking about my day, no one reminding me to rest. The silence became loud. And in that silence, memories began to speak. I remembered how she listened when I talked for hours. I remembered how she cared about my fears. I remembered the nights she waited for me, even when she was tired. For the first time, I truly saw everything I had ignored. I realized how much love I had taken for granted. I realized how easy it is to lose someone by delaying the small actions that matter most. And finally, too late, I chose her, but she was no longer there to be chosen. Months later, by chance, I saw her again. She was walking down the street, laughing with a friend. She looked different, calmer, stronger, lighter, and more beautiful than ever before. She saw me and smiled politely. That smile was kind, but it was no longer mine. We talked for a few minutes, like strangers who shared a past. We asked simple questions. We spoke about work, about life, about small things. And then she said goodbye. When she walked away, I understood something painful and true. Some people come into your life not to be chased, but to be chosen on time. She never asked for perfection. She never asked for riches. She never asked for promises. She only asked for presence, and I gave her absence. Now, I remember the mornings she stayed up waiting for me. I remember the nights she sat quietly while I looked at my phone. I remember the love she gave me when I gave almost nothing. And I carry that lesson with me, not with anger, not with hate, not with blame, only with regret. Because the worst pain is not losing someone. The worst pain is realizing you had them and you chose too late.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.